I'm dipping, see the BM on my shirt. I'm whipping, got my BM in a vert and we tilted. Hat low, brimming fakers lack slow, keep it major rap flow. Get the paper, black dose, hit the vapors, Mac low for the haters. Rap dope, it's the mayor, crap throws for the shakers. Back dope, black folks in the party, black lokes, sunshades, block the sun rays, ripping my coast, yeah. I told the homie cocaine when I released.
And Felice, Laffy Taffy. You see, we are in the Christian spirit in this household. Jesus is the reason for the season. For those that believe, for those that don't believe, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, happy Friday, December the 18th, 2020. I am your host, Terrence Spitz, aka T Spittah. This is the Candy Podcast, Season 2, Episode 4. Well, it should be Episode 5, but unbeknownst to me, last night during the recording session, I mistakenly deleted all of my files during the upload process, during the rendering process, rather. Lost some valuable content that I can't get back. But fortunately, there's a silver lining. Was able to stumble across some great content to push forward for today's show. So here we are. I'm happy to be here with you guys, sharing this moment. Before we begin, I want to give a shout out first and foremost to all you guys, man. Hell of a job so far this cycle. Keep up the good work. Merry Christmas with lots of love to all of you guys and your families. Secret Santa's becoming a blast. Excuse me. Glad that everyone's getting their gifts, receiving their gifts rather, and to salute to everyone who does partake and really puts thought into getting gifts for guys, even if you really don't know each other that well, or even if you don't even like the person. The fact that you're still giving out the goodness of your heart, you don't have to partake, but you're doing it anyway. Means a lot. It goes a long way. And even if you don't really think about it in that detail, just know that the spirit of giving is such a strong quality, because it really is a selfless act, and it really shows the thoughtfulness that you're putting behind it to actually go out of your way to spend money in this economy during the holiday season, and to still reach out to someone halfway across the nation to buy them a gift speaks volumes. So shout out to you guys, man. Looking forward to whoever my Secret Santa is. I'm gonna be happy regardless. And then last but not least, I want to give a shout out to Moji. If you guys will not know, Moji has created his own podcast called Take Flight Pod. I was privileged enough to partake in the creative process in that and creating his intro song. I was honored to be a part of it. I'm proud, Moji, that you are taking that step and following your passions to pursue those things that your heart desires. And I hope that you continue on, bro. And for everyone, watching right now, please do yourself a favor and Moji a favor. Even if you're not taking the time to listen, just go like it, go share it, go comment. The way the algorithms work with social media, those likes, those comments, those shares, that activity goes a long way to, get traffic going his way. So shout out to Moji, man. Keep up the good work. I'm proud of you, bro. And I'm so honored to be a part of it. You don't know how happy I am that I could, do that small piece for something that's your passion and your endeavor. So salute, bro. Let's get right into it. We always start off with our Jawbreaker episode, rather our Jawbreaker segment. This segment that I'm using for the Jawbreaker is called Time. Now, there's a famous African musician who makes Afrocentric music. Rest in peace. One of my favorite just people of all time. Who's actually my Avi on Discord, Fela Kuti, famous African musician who was also a philanthropist, who was also an activist, who was really working socially, economically for those who are, my light went out. Oh, well, we're going to keep rolling. For those who are oppressed systematically, who are behind the eight ball because they are a minority, because they are economically not able to attain those certain things that unfortunately those in position of power have kept people who are oppressed down, who are inferior as they feel. So Fela Kuti had a great quote about time, and it's that the only thing that we know for certain in this life is that time is inevitable. And the reason why I use this today is because during this time, this pandemic that we were in, this coronavirus, not being able to see our extended family, our friends, our coworkers, our loved ones, that just try to find that extra hour, that extra minute to just reach out and do certain things for those that love you the most. Spend an extra hour to cook dinner with your wife, or to watch a TV show, or go on a walk. That extra hour to watch a show with your kids, or to color, or to draw, to role play, to play with action figures, to build that Hot Wheels track, to go out and play catch, to have a tea party. Just the amount of time that we spend on this app, on this Discord app, on our Xbox. Just if we can find that time to squeeze in a game, let's find that time to squeeze in somebody who means the most to us, our loved ones, because that goes a long way. We don't want to get to a point to where we are telling ourselves, "Oh, I have time. I'll get around to it when I get around to it. Just a little bit longer on this." Those things become habits, and habits are, an habitual process that separates you from the things that are truly important. So if you guys step away from chat, put your phone down. If you guys step away, I know we give Lefty heat, especially Advanced Mafia. I don't, because we're Hobby Lobby. I love you, Lefty. Miss you. Hope you come back soon. But things like that, sometimes you have to make the executive decision over your life that, you know what, this is kind of interfering with the time that I need, because time is inevitable. And at the moment we were born, it was basically a clock ticking to the day that we perish and leave this earth. So don't think that, oh, I'll get around to it tomorrow, when you have today and right now to fit that time in. So I hope this sees you well, and I hope that you guys, really focus on that. I speak from experience. I have, made mistakes when it came to time where it seems like you're making this more important than this. And if you're able to find the time for the things that are unimportant, then you should be able to find the time for the things that matter the most. So I hope this sees you well. Keep that in mind. Let's get into our second segment, fellas. We got our Skittles. You know how it is, an assortment, an array of color. When you put them in your mouth, it's a party, it's a festival. We're going to mix this all up. I'm going to give you some of my takes in the Skittles grab bag. And the first take, as I reach into this bag and pull it out, is the season that we're currently in, season 65, seeing the changing of the guard, if you will, with these records and these new teams. Is this parity or is it an anomaly? Now, currently we have 7 teams who are in position to make the playoffs, if the playoffs were to end today, who are in playoff contention that were not in the playoffs last season. Excuse me. Damn. Get right. Hey, Tav, the thing about having good hair is, even if you let yourself go, all you gotta do is just have a good brush session, wash your hair, get your conditioner in there. What I like to use is Osiris shampoo and conditioner. It's ethnocentric for those that who are not initiated, because black people hair are different. But when you wash that hair, you get that good brush session, throw that rag on. If I take this thing off, man, it's gonna be high tide at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But Toph, you wouldn't know that because you have a hair unit. You have artificial hair. That's synthetic, that's in your head. You don't know that process, that we can go from the bottom and now we here. So with the season that we're in, we have 7 teams currently: the Chiefs, Raiders, Rams, Panthers, Ravens, Vikings, and Seahawks, all currently in playoff contention. And if the playoffs were to end today, they would be in the playoffs. I'm actually going to lean on the notion of parity versus anomaly, specifically because of the moves that these teams have made in the offseason to set them up for success. Trading away bad contracts, bringing in good talent, not overpaying people in free agency, thinking a few years out before you actually make that run. Sometimes it's a chess move. It's about, what can I do today that's going to set me up year 2 or year 3, or in this case, for the remainder of the cycle. Right now, it's build, and then get there. I feel like most of these teams on this list have set themselves up for a run to continue throughout the course of the cycle. We probably have 4 seasons left, maybe 5, the way we've been advancing. We look like we have a lot more time, which would be dope because I actually enjoy this Madden. So I would not be opposed to, going longer than what we normally do. But I say that to say, these don't seem like fluky situations. Outside of Minnesota, hate to rag on a division that's already been ragged on. But yet and still, even in that division, the setup that these teams have made as far as roster construction, as far as bringing in youth and talent, as far as acquiring draft picks and trading away bad contracts, this seems like parity, and hopefully this continues at a success for these 7 teams that we mentioned to make a deep run going forward. For those who are outside the playoffs looking in, just keep that in mind. It's not about hitting the lottery and making that home run hit. It's about setting yourself up. If you're a guy like Adele or Moji or Aston, some of the top, historic users and owners in this league, where you have the ability, because you're that elite on the sticks, to make a 1-year push and sell all out in your assets, and whatever happens. Most people cannot do that. So you have to make chess moves. You have to be assertive and preemptive with the moves you're making to assure yourself to have a good run. So I'm not calling this an anomaly based off of these teams and the moves that they made, the acquisitions. I feel like this is parity. And let's be honest, the better that the league is as a whole, as far as competition, the better our conglomerate is outside of just on the sticks. I say that because it was a great point made on the Rewind with BM speaking on, the odd couple in that podcast. But what stuck out to me the most is that when you are losing, it's difficult to do your media, to send those tweets off, to write an article, to pod, to do your graphics, to do your highlight videos, because it depletes you. I'm losing. I'm not really in the mood. It's like anything in life. So when you're winning and you're finding success and you're competing, you feel that morale. You feel encouraged to actually get these tweets off, to do this media. So I'm glad to see the shift, the changing of the guard, and I hope that these teams continue the added success going forward for the rest of the cycle. Let's reach in the bag. Number 2. This is where we're going to get spicy. We have our contenders and our pretenders. Now, as aforementioned, we have 7 teams currently sitting in the playoff contention who are not even in the playoffs. In addition to that, we have teams who are absolutely running the league by storm, who are, surprises. I'm going to give a few that I feel would spice up the conversation and who we think are our contenders and our pretenders. So, in no particular order, first, we have the Carolina Panthers, currently sitting at 6-2, atop the NFC West. Atop the NFC South, a division that was traditionally dominated by the Buccaneers with Coach Toff, Luther. A division that was dominated by him early on. Malik had some head scratchers, or rather some head scratching moves when he traded away one of the best running backs in the league in Chris McCaffrey. Now Malik has turned it around. He is doing more with less when you look at on paper talent, and he's taken the lead by storm. The reason why I'm calling Malik a contender specifically is because of the turnover differential. Currently, the Carolina Panthers are number 1 in the league in turnover differential at plus 19. They're second in the league behind yours truly, the Chiefs, in takeaways. And when you put those two things together, it is a formula for success. There was a notion that Carolina is the ultimate bend but don't break team. But bending and not breaking is not necessarily, predicated on the amount of yards you give up. It's also the ability to take the ball away. If you talk to any coach in real life, across NFL, across college, across high school, they will tell you that giving up yards does not matter to them at all if they're able to take the ball away. If you have ball hawks, if you have guys who put pressure on the quarterback, force errant throws, strip the ball away, knock the ball out, those things traditionally help your team because you're giving your offense extra possession. Malik is not only protecting the ball on offense, he's generating turnovers on defense. And when you have a takeaway advantage like that, it's tough to beat. Anytime you're giving your offense extra possessions, you're not only keeping the opposition off the scoreboard, but you're also creating more opportunities to score. I think the Panthers are a contender. I have them making a deep playoff run, and it's no surprise to me. Moving at number 2, I have the Los Angeles Rams, led by Coach Jim. They are hot, also sitting at 6-2. Of course, that defense led by Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Casey Hayward and company, playing lights out football on the defensive end and really shocking the league, sitting atop, or tied rather, at number 1 with the 49ers led by Coach Ernest in the NFC West. NFC West is a gauntlet, probably the best division in RZ this season. All those guys are playing hard. It's going to be brutal. Unfortunately, Jim, in the Rams, I got to call you guys pretenders. The reason why is because of that offense. Now, currently, the offense led by Coach Jim, they are dead last in the league in total yards, last in passing yards. They do have Christian McCaffrey, which is a phenomenal pick, but Christian McCaffrey only has 2 rushing touchdowns on the year. 427 rushing yards. 457 rushing yards. He's near the bottom in rushing, so they're relying on him. He is their focal point on offense. He does get it done in the pass game. I did type the article up earlier. He has 723 total yards from scrimmage. So he is their bell cow as far as how they use them. But because of that offense's inability to get points on the board, it compromises a tough defense. No matter how good your defense is, if you cannot score offensively, you're putting stress on them. They're on the field longer, and they are prone to give up, scores. Great offense beats great defense every step of the way. So because of that offense, because they only have 4 passing touchdowns, the defense also, though they are only giving up 17 points a game, they're actually middle of the road when it comes to defending the pass and the rush. They're 17th against the pass and 14th against the rush. So you can get yards on them, and that's probably due to the fact that offenses are getting extra possessions because the Rams are 31st in the league in third down conversion rate at 30%, converting 30 of 90 attempts. So when you put that formula together, they're giving the opposition a ton of possessions because they're unable to convert and score. So because of that, Jim is playing phenomenal. I'm pretty sure he's going to make the playoffs. I just don't see them contending, and that's why they're my pretender. Coming at number 3, we have the Raiders. Now, the Raiders have a phenomenal turnaround. Coach Tico Brown was slandered for tanking last year. He tanked for the quarterback. He got his guy, whether it was going to be Bill Harris or Andrew Gleason. The Raiders got their guy at quarterback, and now they're playing lights out football. I'm calling the Raiders contenders, sitting at 6-2, having a phenomenal year, have one of the top offenses in the league. The biggest story to me is not only the fact of the turnaround, but also the 4-game stretch where the Raiders had to play the Denver Broncos, the New Jersey, they played New Jersey, the New York Jets, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Denver Broncos. They came out of that stretch at 3-1. That is a gauntlet if I've ever seen one. That is one of the toughest stretches you will ever see, period. To have the mental fortitude and wherewithal to fight adversity and come out on top, that alone just shows that Tico's ready. He's ready. He's locked in. It doesn't matter who's on the schedule. He's going to be able to compete. The Raiders do not turn the ball over, and that defense is really stingy. So with those things, with a top offense, and you have a guy like Josh Jacobs, the only thing that I am worried about is when it comes playoff time, will a rookie be able to throw his team back into the game if it's a track meet. Andrew Gleason has 12 touchdowns on the year, but has 13 interceptions. So, that the rookie angst, there's ebbs and flows. If Gleason's able to figure it out, that Las Vegas team is built to win a championship, led by a phenomenal coach in Tico Brown, doing a phenomenal job. I'm not going to slurp you no more because you division rival. I really don't rock with you like that, but I tip my hat. Hey, real recognize real, and you looking real right now, Unc. So I gotta call a spade a spade. Moving along, we have next on my list the Baltimore Ravens, led by Coach Blueprint, the hottest team in football, hands down, like 6:30. That was off the top, man. Sometimes boy, I tell you, you know, God don't, you know, God knew what He was doing when He made me, boys. I want to see one of y'all say something like that. Hands down, like 6:30. Ravens are playing phenomenal ball. 6-game win streak after starting the season 0-3. After having a bevy and a myriad of attacks and slanderous language about trading away Lamar Jackson, about the rookie play and Bill Harris, not putting it together. Coach Blueprint weathers the storm. The reason why I first of all, I'm not surprised by this turnaround, because if you follow our trends and the way that teams play, we've been in this league, most of us, you know, for a long time. A lot of you guys are a lot longer than I have. But the time that I've been in red zone, Blueprint traditionally starts off slow. He usually has those 1 and 2, 2 and 3 starts, and then he turns it on mid-season and, you know, ratchets it up for a playoff run late. So the start is not surprising, but I think the nuances added on, the fact that you know, the rookie quarterback in Bill Harris was having, you know, a dreadful start. It didn't look like, you know, Blueprint really had the scheme down for his quarterback. But I never questioned what he was doing, because I knew eventually he would get it right, because he always proves it. And here we are. Excuse me, hottest team in football, 6-3, sitting atop of his division now. His rookie running back, Fox, tearing the lead apart. My pick for Rookie of the Year. I don't think it's anybody more impactful and more needed on a team's success than his rookie running back. That rushing attack is phenomenal. And then to top it off, he is, you know, now getting into his division games where he's dominating those guys. I just think that this is, you know, prime for a deep run. I'm not calling Blueprint a pretender at all. This is a contending team. Anytime you're able to run the ball effectively, and then you have a quarterback who can hit off of that, and a defense that can squander an offense and get stops and get turnovers, that is a key proponent to winning games in this league. So Blueprint's playing phenomenal football. I look forward to, you know, having a contention run going forward. Last but not least on my list, we have the Atlanta Falcons sitting at 4-3 on the season. A very high-powered defense. They're first and second in the league across the board, doing a phenomenal job playing defense. Very underrated, actually. I don't think Kelly's getting enough credit. Side note, Kelly, you on the media carousel, you better get them tweets off, bro, because I'm not losing this draft pick. If I got to drive to, I believe, oh, yeah, you and Corey live together. If I got to drive to Idaho to, you know, run your fade, to get you to write an article or something, yeah, you better off top. You know, we got to catch the fair one, because I'm not losing this draft pick because you and Busy Man Beach are not pulling your weight in the media carousel, man. It's ridiculous. With that being said, Kelly's also a pretender. The unfortunate thing about this Falcons team is that despite the great play of the defense, the offense is committing way too many turnovers. Currently number 1 in the league with 23 total turnovers. The offense is playing well, but they cannot protect the ball. And again, as aforementioned about you know, success and not being able to keep your defense off the field. When you are putting your defense in compromisable positions, like too many possessions on the field, they eventually break down. So I hope that Kelly's able to turn it around. If he protects the ball, look out, because he has an explosive offense and he has a defense to back it up. But if you're turning the ball over, it's good night. So with that, I have Kelly as my pretender in the Falcons, but hopefully he proves me wrong. So with that, we are done with number 2, or reaching the bag number 2 on the Skittles. We're going to transition to number 3 in the Skittles bag, and we reach down here. I have my predictions. Now, we are in week 10. I'm going to predict that if the playoffs were to start today, this is who I have winning and why. Now, keep this in mind. This is not gospel. This is strictly based off the standings as of today. This can change tonight when we advance or tomorrow. But based off of the standings in the position today, this is who we would have in the playoffs, and here's why I would rank them. So we're going to start in the AFC. So currently we have our 7 teams in the AFC sitting as such. Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, hey. Also, we world champs, baby. It's so phenomenal waking up and rolling over and looking at my wife and looking into her optic scans and saying, damn, this chick is a world champion. Lakers and Dodgers. And I'm pretty sure when she rolls over and she rubs her fingers through the effervescence of these waves, she probably says, damn, this boy is a world champion. Y'all wouldn't understand. Kansas City Chiefs sitting at number 1 with the bye, sitting at 8-1, playing phenomenal football. Then we have the Jacksonville Jaguars at 6-2, led by Dan the Archer and Coach Patrick, who has some of the wildest takes on planet Earth. Bro, you got to put down the Mad Dog 2020 and cocaine and get some help. Some help. Ayudar. Number 3 seed, we have the New York Jets led by Coach Mosey. The best roster to me, the most complete roster, a team that's built for a championship run. They're sitting at number 3, also at 6-2. And then we have at number 4, Baltimore, making a surprise run, shocking all of you with the 6 straight wins after starting 0-3. Baltimore now moves in to win the division, has a number 4 seed. At number 5, we have the Las Vegas Raiders led by Tico Brown, sitting at 7-2. And then at number 6, we have the Tennessee Titans led by Coach Rock Solid. And then the last but not least, to round this off, we have the Denver Broncos, Corey Aston, sitting at number 7, inching in currently at 5-3. So in our first matchup, the wild card, we have the number 7 seed Denver Broncos versus Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, despite the deficiencies that the Broncos are dealing with, and mainly it has nothing to do with the play of Aston, it's just strictly not being able to protect the quarterback. He's getting himself into situations where he has to throw, in pressured situations, causing turnovers, getting sacked, and that. It's nothing to do with him at all. And Aston is a proven winner. I guarantee come playoff time, he's going to be the same Aston. I don't know where this underrated thing came from. Honestly, I don't even think it came from anywhere. I think Adele was just trying to make a hot and spicy topic because he didn't have anything to talk about. As loquacious as he is, and as big as that domicile is, he didn't have anything to talk about, so he had to talk about Aston being underrated. So that came out of nowhere. We all know he's not underrated. And what a perfect opportunity to bounce back and to face the Jaguars. Now, say what you will about Patrick, about 3-play Patrick. I can't knock him. He's had success, but this is a matchup that he would not want to see as a number 2 seed, having to face the Denver Broncos and Corey Aston in the first round of the playoffs. That's a one and done. I think Aston's just a better user, and you kind of just lock in and know what to do when it comes to playoff. He's been there. He's done that. I guess Patrick's been there, done that too. He has a championship, Super Bowl championship, but I think in the end, there's just too much Aston, too much pedigree. That's a bad matchup for Jacksonville in the first round. Denver walks away with that victory handily. In our second matchup, we have the number 6 seed Tennessee Titans, led by Coach Rock, heading out to the Meadowlands to face the Jets and that high-powered offense and stacked defense led by Coach Moji. This is actually must-see TV right here. These are 2 formidable users, 2 teams that are almost built identical when it comes to that, as far as the strengths and the weaknesses and the holes in their secondary. But what scares me about this is Coach Rock and the peaks and valleys that they're enduring this year with the quarterback reshuffling, with the with not being able to find a grasp on if we want to go with the rookie or if we want to bring in Jimmy G, and then because we're not getting our rushes in, we're not able to get a good grasp and a good feel. So I'm not sure if the playoffs were in today, this would just be a bad matchup for Coach Rock because of the seesaw up and down, ebbs and flows that we're having with this team. The Jets, I mentioned earlier, to me, the best team in the league. They're stacked. They are doing a phenomenal job. I don't see them losing at all. That team is just loaded, and all of you who traded with Coach Mojo should be ashamed of yourself. So I got the Jets winning that game, but I think that's must see TV because these are two great users and really good football game. And last but not least, we have the number 5 seed Las Vegas Raiders versus the number 4 seed Baltimore Ravens. What a matchup! This is looking like another must see TV game. Two of the hottest teams. We have one team who just ran a gauntlet and came out running the gambit strong, and Coach Tico to, build that morale for his team, to know that I can play anyone and win, no matter when I play them, no matter how I play them, no matter where I play them. I can play the top users and top teams and still come out unscathed. And then on the flip side, you have Coach Blueprint and those Ravens who also have endured some adversity and said, we know what it takes to come out on top. To start off 0-3 and rattle off 6 straight against some really good opponents in that stretch, and finally catch his second win and realize what he's doing with his offense, and the defense is the defense. So I expect this to be a good showdown. If I had to call it today, I'm calling the Raiders just for the simple fact that offense is just loaded, and it's hard to play a team when you have to outscore them. This is not a team that you're going to stop. So the only way to beat the Raiders is by scoring a lot of points. And that eliminates the running ability of Fox. Ball control, this is my philosophy. And, if I'm wrong, if you guys feel differently, rather, it's okay. This is my philosophy. My coaching scheme is that ball control offense does not stop high-powered offenses, because the moment they get the ball, they score. And the more that you try to sit on the ball, the more mistakes you're prone to make. You are better off when you're playing against a high-powered offense. You're better off trying to fill it up, because when they get the ball, they're going to score. The Raiders don't turn the ball over, and their offense is very high-powered. So because of that, I would expect Blueprint having to play a lot of, air raid back and forth, and that eliminates the ability of Fox to run wild. So I think that the Raiders ultimately win that game and moves on to the second round. So in the second round, we have KC coming off the bye. We have number 7 seed Denver heading into Kansas City to play yours truly, the Chiefs. This is a tough matchup, a tough divisional, matchup. Anytime you have to play a guy 3 times in a year and the playoffs being the 3rd time, especially the fact that it's a heated rivalry, I hate Aston with all my heart. On the sticks, off the sticks, I hate Aston with all my heart too. I just don't like people that wear big ass t-shirts under their polos, but we'll say that for another day. Anytime that you have 2 division opponents who know each other, it's not even about scheme and outsmarting. I know what he does. He knows what I do. We know what each other likes to go to and the sets we like to run and get into. So it's not even about a chess match. It's about who can impose their will and who can dominate that game with the style of play that they want to impose on their opponent. I'm not going to pick Aston at all. I'm going to win that game. I just personally think I'm better than Aston as a user. I think Aston is a great GM and a great team builder and a top user. Period. I'm better than him, and I'm going to prove that. If I haven't already, I'm going to prove that. Then in the second round, we have the number 5 seed Las Vegas Raiders facing the number 3 seed New York Jets. This is a rematch from earlier in the year where Vegas in that gauntlet, they came out, and that was one of the teams that they basically dominated. Sam Darnold did not have a good game. I expect Coach Mojo to bounce back. This is going to be must-see TV. I hope that this shapes up to be what we see in the playoffs, because again, we're looking at this. That Vikings team winning that, that dreaded NFC Norris. He comes out number 4. Number 5, we have the Los Angeles Rams, a team who is making head waves so far, playing phenomenal football. They make the playoffs. for the first time this cycle at number 5. At number 6, we have the Atlanta Falcons. We spoke about them earlier, led by Coach Kelly. And then number 7, squeaking into the playoffs. If it were to end today, we have the Seattle Seahawks, led by Coach Cat. So our breakdown in the first round, we have number 7 seed Seattle Seahawks facing number 2 seed San Francisco 49ers. Another divisional matchup. That's one of the matchups you hate if you're either team, to try to play a guy 3 times. You know, we mentioned it already in the AFC. It's just a tough feat, especially with this Seattle Seahawks team. Having to face Lamar Jackson 3 times, that's just a tough blow. I think Ernest is locked in. The second best team in this season, next to the Jets and Coach Moji. I think that the Niners steamroll the Seahawks. It's just too much Lamar Jackson, too much firepower, too much Ernest. In our second matchup of the wild card, we have the number 6 seed Atlanta Falcons heading into Philly to face number 3 seed Philadelphia Eagles, led by Coach Adele, defending Super Bowl champion. This is just about pedigree. Say what you will about Adele's issues this season. When he gets in the playoffs, he's going to be locked in. Adele has shown that he can have those 14-2, 13-3 seasons and get the bye and, be the favorite to win one and do it. And then he has those seasons where he is 9-7, barely squeaks into the playoffs. People are questioning if he has what it takes, and then he wins the Super Bowl out of nowhere, just out of a very tough situation. So I'm not surprised. I would not be surprised if this happens that way. Currently, the Eagles are sitting at 4-4. A shocker to some because he just came off of a Super Bowl. But when he gets in the playoffs, that pedigree of Coach Adele is bar none. I expect him to win that game handedly. And then our last wildcard matchup, we have the Los Angeles Rams heading into Minnesota to face the Minnesota Vikings, led by Coach Eicham. This actually is a good matchup, because they match up on paper, these users. Say what you will about Eicham and the NFC North. It goes without saying, but you can only control what you do in your division. As long as you win your division, you're in. And once you get to the playoffs, anything can happen. And now the spotlight is on, and then he matches up with a favorable opponent. The teams on paper are not favorable. That Rams defense is loaded. But the style of play that these two both implement, I think it's a good matchup, a scary matchup for Jim in his first time in the playoffs this cycle. At the end of the day, I think it's just too much Rams, it's too much Aaron Donald, it's too much Jalen Ramsey. They locked that field down, making it possible for the Vikings to score, and the Rams move on to the second round. So our second round, we have Carolina coming off of a bye. They would be hosting the number 4 seed 49ers. Another great matchup, 2 great users. Malik, I think, is probably the most underrated so far this season with what he's doing with that Panthers roster. But Ernest, I think, is primed for a Super Bowl run. And I think that, again, that Lamar Jackson trade just took this team over the top. This was mentioned on one of the podcasts. With Lamar Jackson, this cycle has shifted. The paradigm has shifted, and it's basically set them up to make a run every single year, especially with being able to re-sign Joey Bosa. That defense is locked in and offense is loaded. Blaylock at running back, who's looking like one of the best backs in the league. Just too much Niners offense, and they unfortunately send Carolina home after the bye. They stay at home. And then the next matchup in our second round, we have the number 5 seed Rams heading into Philly, a rematch from earlier where the Rams were really able to control that game and dominate. I think that, again, the pedigree of Coach Adele in the playoffs and those Eagles, he gets them ready to play, and he figures out how to beat that defense. That Rams offense is very susceptible to making mistakes and not being able to score. Their inability to not get out of third down situations will be costly. And the Eagles prevail in that matchup, leading to a very, very spicy NFC Championship game. The Philadelphia Eagles head into San Francisco to play the 49ers. Man, this is must-see TV right here. I don't even know if I can call this, because I can't count out Adele ever and what he's able to do especially in clutch performances and game time situations. He's a gamer. He'll get those guys ready. Ernest, another Super Bowl winner in this cycle, now has Lamar Jackson. I don't know how the Eagles are able to get over that hump and defending a talent like that. And in the end, I think it's just too much Lamar Jackson. Probably 1 or 1A as far as MVP, between him and Mahomes right now. I think it's just too much Lamar Jackson. I think that the Niners are poised and ready for a championship run, and I think they prevail, leading to a rematch, Kansas City Chiefs versus the 49ers. Again, this is all based off Week 10. This is not gospel. This is just me shooting the shit and having some, imaginative, creative things on these predictions. So I hope y'all enjoyed that. These are my Week 10 predictions. We can ball this up and throw it out the window because next week it'll all change, and I'll do some more. So let's move on to our next topic. We got our Twix Award, our favorite award that we give out. My Twix Award is basically based off of those who are doing it on the field, off the field, in the chat. Really stand up guys doing the things that really inspired me to keep going. And I gotta give a Twix Award to my guy Moji, as mentioned earlier in the podcast with the shout out. Moji starting his own podcast with Take Flight. It sounds amazing. Him and Cave are doing a great job. If you haven't listened, go check it out. But then within our universe and our realm, what he's doing on the sticks, putting together a great team this year, looking like a championship team. What he's doing with media as far as the podcast. Now I am boycotting the podcast because we have a guy by Luther Toff Reed who sat amongst the Viking horde as they had a libation, drinking wonderful eclectic drinks, singing the Celtic folklore of the Himalayas. He sat there and allowed them to slander one of our Kemetic brethren. I got to boycott the show because of that. How dare you, Toff? But what Moji is doing is phenomenal work. And then the sports book. I know him and Pat both do a good job at that. Pat, you got your Twix Award. Now it's time to give it to the other half because Moji is doing a fantastic job. I salute you, sir. You are our Candy Podcast Season 2, Episode 4 Twix Award winner. Congratulations. Now our Laffy Taffy. Our favorite word that we've been getting around, fellas. It's sort of been our mantras, narratives. And there's been some good ones. Boy, that fight today, that little welterweight match, it wasn't a heavyweight match. It was a little welterweight with Black Ass Magic and Remesu. Man, I was enjoying, man. I was on my computer doing, responding to email at work. I closed that laptop. I sat back. I got my little brew. I was watching that, man. It was a good one. But here's my thing about the narratives that are being said, specifically with what we talked about, or with what was mentioned as far as, calling, Black Magic the lob and pray god, the narrative that is lame. To me, we have to be more deductive and use the correct connotation when we are describing the way someone plays. Because I completely agree with Ram. I mean, I voted Black Ass Magic my least favorite player to play 2 seasons, our first season in the cycle and the second season, because I played him back to back. In the first game, I blew him out. The second game, he blew me out. But the reason why I voted him least favorite to play is because I did not enjoy playing him. Nothing he was doing was lame, though. And that's the issue that I have with the terms that we choose to bestow on people. To me, lame is about the way that someone is trying to exploit, the way that someone is trying to cheese, the way that someone is trying to bend the rules in order to find success. Lame is not throwing the ball up in the air. Lame is not running 26,478 halfback dives. That's not lame. It's boring. I don't like playing against that. It's weak, but it's not lame. And I don't like when people talk about certain gameplay and they oust red zone members and call their play style lame, because lame has a very specific connotation of what it means. And when you're trying to exploit the game for, gratification of your own success, now we can call that lame. But for instance, what was our cycle where the spin move was OP? That was lame. We were doing spin moves, and I was guilty of it. And it was kind of subconscious, but when you start doing it, you realize how much it works. I can just go run silent spin. That's lame. But lobbing it up to somebody is not lame. That's just the way that he wants to play. And the same thing, we had talked about how what is deemed the meta of the cycle, and apparently, according to many red zone members, the deep crosser routes are quote unquote the meta of this cycle. There's a myriad of ways that you can incorporate your crosses. So in that regard, I don't think that it's a problem. What the problem is that you have people who abuse something that is OP, and then you have people who implement a strategy into their offense. But we do a great job in the red zone meshing the two. If somebody who is an habitual deep cross runner is being thrust in the same light with somebody who is running a play action boot, and there's a deep cross over the middle, and we say, oh my gosh, another cross. It's unfair to that guy. And I know that it's up for debate. We have to sit here and, now we're nitpicking and choosing, okay, who is being lame and exploiting the meta, and who is actually implementing the system. To me, the answer is simple. Just stop complaining and don't care. And stop it. Simple as that. We talked about another narrative, conservative catch. I use conservative catch often because I have instances where my receivers drop footballs on the most minuscule hits, on pity-pat hits, and they drop the ball. I turn that thing on conservative. I'm like, I will sacrifice the yardage for securing a catch. The response should not be in return, oh, I need to figure out a way how to stop conservative catch. What tactic can I use to turn on that stops the way someone catches the ball? You know how silly that sounds? The object is to stop someone from catching. The object is not to figure out what I can turn on to stop what this guy turned on to make his guys catch the ball a certain way. You was about lame? That's lame. But calling someone lame for the way that they play, that has nothing to do with exploiting the system, that's not lame. So I just want to put, that's my take on some of these narratives, man. You guys got to do a better job at, being better critical thinkers and not going down this, this straw man approach where we're calling things lame that are not really lame, and we're calling things, meta, or putting people into the same spotlight as those who exploit the system when they're just trying to play good football. Let's dial it back and kind of, reconfigure our approach and how we are defining certain things. Have to be more deductive. This is not binary. It's more of a mosaic. So let's look at it as such. Every situation is different. So that's my take on that. That's my Laffy Taffy, these narratives. That gets the Laffy Taffy award. And our final award, we have our Sour Patch. And my Sour Patch for this goes to none other than Corey, big shirt wearing, Tall X Pro Club, Shaka T underneath the polo shirt, Aston. Corey, I say this with all due respect. First and foremost, let me preface this by saying I truly care about you and everyone for that matter, especially when it pertains to mental health, especially when it pertains to our physical health, especially when it pertains to just our common overall health and success in life. So if you're dealing with, anything deep, I'm truly praying for you, bro. I'm keeping your name in high spirit, high and lifted up, anointed. I pray that you get through whatever season that you're in, and that you understand, that firsthand. If you need anything, bro, I got you. Tap in with me. We can talk, encourage each other, lift each other up. Know that you have somebody that you can rely on. And I hope that we all feel that same way about each other, that we utilize our group for what we have, that it's not just about playing football, that we are in constant communication. And it's our obligation as men to uphold each other, to break the cycle, the generational curses, the things that men have been, susceptible to as far as what men can and can't feel, what we can and can't do. Just because we're men, you can still say, I love you. You can still reach out. You can still tell your boy, like, yo, I'm thinking about you. Hope all is well. So with that, I mean that with all sincerity, Corey. But what bothers me is that you can't sit here and be a sucker, bro. Like, you can't dish it and then not take it. One, that's just, they always say, if you can't handle the heat, get out the kitchen. If you can't dish it, if you can't take it, then don't dish it. Corey, you talk shit as much as anyone. And I'm here for it. I love it. I think that shit talk is important, especially when, it's not malicious. You know that it's coming from a place of just fun, love, and, just the spirit of banter. It's just what men do. It's our way of connecting, communicating, and showing that, we in some way, shape, or form actually, mess with you, rock with you on a level. Because for me personally, if I don't banter with you, if I don't shit talk with you, it's probably because I don't really mess with you or rock with you or have the care to do so. So I don't, there's people in this group that I don't go back and forth with, that I don't shit talk with, because I just don't care to. I don't have anything for them. So, Corey, me and you play, you talking your shit, I'm talking my shit, and then you say something, I return fire, and then all of a sudden you drop a post basically saying that, your mental health is going through yada, yada, yada. You need to leave chat for a while. To me, that's weak. It's weak because you just sat there and had a back and forth, which is fine. I was having fun with it. But then when it got too hot for you, you reverted to something a little bit more serious. Now it puts us on an 8-ball. Like, man, like, for one, I truly felt bad. Like, damn, man, like, he going through this. But I'm like, wait a minute. He was sitting here dishing it. So you can't use that as an excuse. But the ultimate thing that makes me upset about it is that it's discrediting the things that, the real life issues that people are actually going through. I have no problem with you saying, hey, fellas, like, send me some positive energy or, prayers or thoughts. I'm going through something. I need, to step out of chat. But when you're going back and forth in a banter and then you immediately respond to someone's response by saying, I'm going to leave chat, I'm going through things, put yourself on not disturb mode. And then you come back today and you drop more shit talk. So it's like, are you really going through something, or were you just upset about what happened? And if you are going through something, that's fine. You can still find that transition and, finding that space and being able to interact while not also being compromised by your own mental health. I understand that completely. But you can't say that you're going to step away because the banter basically was getting to you and making you chippy, but then turn around. So, that's basically my take on that. Everything I said, to preface this, I mean that with all sincerity, and that's not just for Corey. That's for everybody in our universe. Know that I'm truly thinking about you. I keep your name in high prayer, and I hope that you keep my name in prayer too. You keep my name in your thoughts, because we have to do a better job as men, standing together and praying for each other and keeping each other up in high regard. So that's my Sour Patch Kid. Corey, you gotta hold that. I still mean what I mean, bro. If you need me, I got you. But if you can't take it, don't dish it. That's all I'm saying. Because I'm a fire back the moment I see you. The moment I see you fire. That's just how it is, partner. With that, that's the end of our podcast. Once again, fellas, Feliz Navidad, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Love to you and yours. Enjoy this holiday season for what it is, despite the pandemic, despite, the economy. Just, find solace and refuge in those that love you the most, and the things that your heart desire, your passions, your dreams, your visions, your goals. Find solace in knowing that you have authority over all things. And instead of telling people how big your mountain is, tell your mountain how big you are. and how big you will come over that. So that's my encouragement for today. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. I got a championship to win.